welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast. I'm your host, Dre, of Dre Area Sports. I'm joined by my co-host, Aaron of 49ers First Takes and Sterling of 49ers Access Podcast. Guys, what is going on? This was the last preseason game of the season. We are now in full-on regular season mode. Aaron, are you excited? Are you hyped? How are you feeling going into the regular season, even though we have a week off, which really sucks?
For real now, baby. No more preseason, no more training camp, no more rest days, no more working guys, ramping guys up. It's put up or shut up time, man. It's time to go. Either play or shut up about it. I don't want to hear it.
Put up or shut up. Sterling, how are you feeling about going into the regular season? You know, we're like, almost a week away or 2 weeks away from Australia. And that's another thing, too. Can you believe we're going to start the season all the way down under in Australia?
Well, it feels weird that the Niners, who haven't had a home game since week 1 of the preseason, aren't going to have one to begin the year either. They're going to play internationally in Melbourne, Australia. But I think it's for Niner fans, like, this is what you've been waiting for since that game against Seattle. Pretty much ever since the opening kickoff of that game against Seattle, it was like, oh, we'll see you in 2026. Well, now it is 2026, and roster cut down days in just 2 days. So you'll see this roster go from 90 to 53 players in the span of the next 48 hours. Then it's, like Aaron said, it's football time. It is gear up. You got the Rams in about a week and a half or so, and it's for real. You got Matthew Stafford, maybe Puka Nacua, Myles Garrett, maybe Aaron Donald's back in the fray, and you better hope that your trip to Australia, you come back with a victory, because it can get dicey really quick. But I think San Francisco has built themselves a nice roster, a lot of young defensive players shining in the preseason over the last 3 weeks or so. But you cannot be excited more about what Niner football brings to the community, and more importantly, what it brings to our Sundays, because God, I miss it every Sunday, waking up 10 a.m., getting the coffee hot and ready, and sitting on my butt for the next 12 hours watching football.
This is going to be off topic quite a bit, but let me ask you, because look, Sterling and I are both West Coast fans, and Aaron's on the East Coast. I mean, I don't know. What is that like to wake up and watch football at 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock? We're so used to having 10 a.m., 1 p.m., and then obviously 6 p.m. for Sunday night football. But I feel like on the East Coast, it's like an all day thing.
It's
It's 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 9 o'clock. It doesn't end.
It's great because, like, you get up, and even if you say you go to whatever religion you are, you go to your place of worship, you come
go to
home,
church,
do what you got to do, and then it's go time, baby. You get the pizza, you get the chicken wings. Usually, me and my brother do the pizza and the chicken wings after the 1 o'clock game. So as we're going into like the middle part of like the first quarter, that's when the pizza and the wings happen. And then usually me and my brother at like 7, if both of our teams win, we do the post-game coffee. We just go out on the deck and talk about the game and stuff. It's like tradition with me and my brother. So he's a Dolphins fan, though. He doesn't expect much this year. And
just imagining Aaron drinking coffee being like, injuries, right?
That's all I've been talking to my brother about. And he's just like, ugh.
Scrooge.
I feel like it's better.
McFox says it's better at 10 or 1.
Yeah, like you wake up and it's already started. And if you get lucky enough, and my wife hates this, international games are in Europe at 6 a.m. So I'm up 6 a.m.
I am not about the 6 a.m. game. I'm like, oh my
come
God,
on, man. It's
like the Australia game.
6 to 6, 12 hours of commercial-free football. It's awesome.
Mick Mallow writes, that's cool in the East, but I love early morning games then all day. I don't know.
Nice.
You know what? I work early morning, so I would probably hate the all day because I don't want to be up late. But I don't know. I think they both have their perks. But, it makes more sense now when you see all the commercials for pizza and wings, all that shit. Because when you start watching it at 1, by the time 4 o'clock hits, you're fucking starving. It's like, hey, let's order some food.
Yep.
So just something to think about, different differences and where geographically we're located. But enough of that. Let's get to the actual game. The Niners took on the Raiders yesterday in the final preseason matchup before the beginning or the start of the regular season. The Niners came out on top 18-12. I felt like I was watching a baseball game, watching the score, how it tallied up. Pinero, Eddie Pinheiro had how many field goals? 6?
6, yeah.
He had 6 field goals, and he even had a 58-yarder that he nailed. I mean, he looked extremely good. Kyle Shanahan was a little pissed with him because he chose to receive. Oh, no, he chose to kick. And he was like, dude, it's preseason. Like, we have to receive, you know? But he made up for it. He made 6 kicks, so that was really good. But so let's talk about what we took from the game. Sterling, did you get a chance to watch the game? If you did, what were some of the takeaways that you took from Niners versus Raiders?
I did watch the entire game, opening kickoff to the final buzzer, if you will. And I know a lot of starters didn't play, got Mac Jones for about 2 drives, and that was it. But, you know, I think the big takeaway from last night was, one, how loaded San Francisco is at linebacker this year. They're about 6-7 guys deep there. Yeah. They're going to have to make some tough cuts, maybe a trade or so. Come roster cut down day, would not be shocked to see somebody moved in some capacity. And I also think that San Francisco, you know, we talked about this a lot throughout the entire offseason and preseason so far. Like, while Alfred Collins has not played well, that's a big question mark. Where is last year's second round draft pick? And maybe you can make some excuses and say shoulder maybe isn't healed yet, getting into the fray, kind of getting his feet under him still. You can equally say you are as impressed with James Thompson Jr. and Bryson Eason and Sebastian Valdez. And, you know, San Francisco, for all the worries of how last year's draft class looks right now. Mikel's injured. Collins hasn't played great. West has been, you know, a midday pick at best, and he hasn't really grown so much, but it is year 2. A lot of depth on this defense, a lot of depth. And, you know, especially on that front 7, you need that, especially on the interior. You watch what Seattle did last year. They're about 4 or 5 guys deep. All those dudes can get to your quarterback through your center. And San Francisco is trying to kind of build that of their own. So a lot to like from the defensive side of things, but the offense, my God, these receivers, once you get past the big dogs, suck, man. Jordan Watkins is not good. Cowling didn't play again last night. He's hurt right now. And then it's a bunch of holy shite. Hope none of these dudes can play. Hope none of these dudes make the roster, and fingers crossed Christian McCaffrey, Jordan James, and Kalen Black can stay healthy, because that 3-headed beast of a backfield looks pretty awesome right now, and I hope that continues throughout the regular season as well.
Yeah, I really like what I saw out of the backfield. I love seeing Kalen Black and his ability to run the football. You know, Black averaged 7 yards a carry. He only carried it 4 times, but still, he looks explosive. He looks, you know, very twitchy. I just think he looks really, really good, and I'm very excited for Kalen Black. But again, Jordan James, I mean, he had 8 rushes for 35 yards, but man, he looked good. And even receiving out of the backfield, you know, having this tandem of Jordan James and Kalen Black, let's say after the years of Christian McCaffrey, I don't feel like the Niners are in a spot where they're not going to have you know, capable running backs if McCaffrey decides to hang it up or they go their separate ways in a couple of years. So I think both these guys look really, really good. And I'm glad to see James back on the field after the broken ribs that he had to work through. The guy's extremely talented, and you can see it right away when he carried the ball, when he caught the ball in the backfield, the way he moves in open space. I really see why the Niners drafted this guy. But to me, Kalen Black is easily running back number 2 on this roster. Now, this is supposed to be the year that we're supposed to get more of Kalen Black, or more running back number 2 than we got last season, because Christian McCaffrey got all the carries. So will Shanahan change it up and use a lot more Kalen Black? We know he likes him a lot. We know that he was a big fan of him in the draft. So this could be a case where he's like, hey, this is the guy I wanted. This is the guy I liked. I want to use this guy to his full capabilities. So we'll see how he actually utilizes Kalen Black, and maybe even some Jordan James as well. But you got to figure they're going to carry at least 3 running backs on this roster. But the depth at running back, I really, really like. I like Khalil Herbert. I like Sincere McCormick, but obviously not all these guys are going to make the team. If you had to take 3 running backs, are we locked in on McCaffrey, Black, and Jordan James?
I am. I even like McCormick as a practice squad player. I think he's really good too.
He'll likely end up in the practice squad. Same with Khalil Herbert.
Well, and you get some more depth with Grendo being on the pup list. You have kind of that fourth option kind of hanging in the balance, and whether he's good or not remains to be seen. Probably
Larry
not,
loves him.
um, yeah, he's a fullback, guys.
Mhm.
No, I just think like they're in a good spot for the first time in a long time, maybe ever since 2021. Maybe really even since 2019 when they had Mostert and Coleman and Matt Breida back there and Jeff Wilson Jr. Like they used all four of those guys in 1 year, and all four of those guys played a big role in their ascension in 2019. And while you have now that top dog Christian McCaffrey here, like you have two young guys that have fresh legs, have almost no tread on those tires.
Mhm.
The question is, can those guys stay healthy? And maybe give Christian McCaffrey a couple plays off here or there, keep him fresh, and not have him have to touch the football 413 times like he did last season.
Yeah.
My whole thing is, will Kyle trust those guys when it comes down to the real game?
No,
'Cause Kyle is so.
Of course not.
Kyle is so so quick to pull the trigger on young guys if they make cause a turnover, have something like that happen. And I fear that as great as this trio is, maybe even a fourth running back or a fifth, depending on who they keep on the practice squad. Well, I think they have the ability to have a three-headed monster and give Christian McCaffrey a much-needed breather during the season. But two things. Actually, it's three things. Does CMC want to come out? Does Kyle trust these guys when it comes down to a real game, especially if one of them, fumbles the ball or something? And how much is Bobby Turner in the ear of Kyle Shanahan when it comes to all of this? Like, in theory, they look amazing. They're all kind of different. They're all kind of different at running back, but we'll see. Kyle's been known to be like, he's even crusty about Stribling when he answered a question the other day. And I was just like, man, wow, what does it take to make this guy happy? He's so anal about certain things. So
But
my
you know
thing
what,
is with
though?
Kyle.
I love that response where he's like, "Well, these are preseason games. They don't mean as much," because you can't sit there and say, "I loved it. He looked amazing. I can't wait to use him." No, he's like, "Fuck that. That's preseason. You got to do it in the regular season." He's gonna hold a higher standard, and I like that he did that in front of the media. To me, I was like, "Good, challenge this guy. Let him know that, hey, look, just because you had a good preseason doesn't mean you're a superstar already. It's preseason. You're going against backup sometimes. So no, you can't just say that this is it. He's the one. Even though I think he's going to be incredibly talented. He's going to have an incredible year, but still. But yeah, Stribling looks really good. I have no doubt that he's going to have a good season, especially with guys like Evans and Kittle and CMC. It's going to open things up for him, and I think it's also going to open up things for Demarcus Robinson as well. But let me ask you guys. There was a lot of talk about two guys, CJ West and Alfred Collins. Now, these are two guys that stayed in the game all the way through the third quarter. Now, if these were your two starters, okay, let's just say, if these were our starters, how could they be in the game all the way through the third quarter? In fact, Alfred Collins, I thought was going to be the starter this season. Now I'm thinking he's not. Now it's looking more like it's going to be Oso Odigizua, maybe Grayson Holton, or somebody else at that defensive tackle position next to Oso Odigizua, because you kept Alfred Collins in the game for so long. And not only that, but they were the lowest graded Niners on the defense against the Raiders, according to PFF. CJ West had a grade of 30. And Alfred Collins had a 38.1. They were getting pushed around all over the field. And I kind of felt like maybe Kyle Shanahan, maybe Raheem Morris, but somebody was trying to make an example of those two, saying, hey, nothing is given in the NFL. You're going to stay out there and prove yourself to us, because last night they were getting shoved around. In fact, here's some video of them against the Raiders, and it's not good. It looks like me and Sterling trying to block the offensive line. I mean, they're getting pushed back at least 5 yards. I mean, look at Collins get pushed over. It's not good. Sterling, what'd you make of the play of Collins and West?
Yeah, well, the player showing West is actually doing his job. Collins, on the other hand, is not. So
here's Collins here. I mean, West. I'm sorry. West is going over there.
West is actually doing his job. Jalen Graham needs to shoot that gap better and get in there and make a play. He doesn't. But no, I I think you're right when it comes to at least the Alfred Collins stuff. When you draft somebody in round 2, and the belief is that he is going to become a mainstay on your defensive line, and you're going to help build and rebuild the run defense around a player like him. You get Michael, you get Alfred Collins, you get Wes last year. Okay, here's your three-headed, monster, if you will, if you want to use that term. These young dudes are going to help rebuild your defense, and they're going to accompany Bosa and whoever else you plug and play in the ascension or the reascension of San Francisco's defensive line. And, Michael's hurt, and that at times can be uncontrollable. So you chalk it up to what it is. And, Collins was hurt last year to begin training camp and OTAs and stuff, and got healthier as the year went on. And I think we can all agree deserved to start later on in the season. But granted, you're playing against, Jordan Elliott and Clea Davis. So, you better start against those guys. But the expectation and the reality of Alfred Collins right now in 2026 is nowhere near where it's supposed to be. You're right, Dre. He is supposed to be this team's starting defensive tackle against or alongside Osa Odigizua. He's supposed to be the guy on base downs that clogs lanes and makes sure opposing running backs, whether it's, Zach Charbonnet, Jadarian Price, Jeremiah Love, etc., in the NFC West, can't gash this Niners defense like they all did last season. He's a guy that's supposed to set up, having Michael slide into the interior on third downs and wreak havoc, and have Bosa and Osa Odigizua free up on 1v1 to go get to the quarterback. And, my first instinct is to give a young player the benefit of the doubt, right? He hurt his shoulder last year. He had surgery in the offseason. Maybe he's not right just yet. Maybe his feet are getting under him still, and maybe that was why he was out there for the majority of the game last night, of Shanahan being like, we need you to get your feet back under you right now, because against the Rams, there is no ramping up process, to Aaron's point earlier. But it's hard to ignore the fact that when you're starting or assume starting defensive tackle is playing in the third preseason game, when none of your other starters are, and it's the fourth quarter and they're playing against third and fourth stringers, that's an issue.
You should be dominating at that point.
Right. And that to me either screams he's not right just yet from the shoulder stuff, or like Dre's point earlier, maybe he has been jumped on the depth chart by Grayson Halden. Maybe they view James Thompson Jr., who's had a phenomenal preseason so far, as somebody they want to play on base downs more often. I'm not jumping off the Alfred Collins bandwagon by any means, but, as a second-round draft pick, a guy who's supposed to be the dude on the interior alongside Osa Odigizua, there's been a major step back in his production. Now, it is preseason. Maybe their conditioning isn't quite right just yet, and hopefully that changes as things progress. But the problem, again, back to Aaron's point, is there's no time to ramp back up. Your conditioning needs to be where it should be. And again, maybe the injury set him back. So we can kind of see where things play out. But you're playing Matthew Stafford week 1.
Yeah.
You don't have time to hope and wait and bank on things getting right. Now, there's a week and a half until then. Maybe something, the dam breaks and things work out for him. But it's not a good sign for the Niners and where Alfred Collins is now. It definitely is concerning, but obviously we'll hope for the best.
Can I say this?
Go ahead.
I think it was pretty apparent about what they did this offseason, which is an indictment on their drafting, that being so bad, that they doubled down on defensive tackle. They got one guy in the draft, and then they signed Osa Odigizua. Me and Mike were talking about this. They're
different players. Let's be honest.
I understand. I understand that. But it's I don't know. It's an indictment on your poor drafting. I was giving them all the benefit of the doubt last year, and I was talking about, maybe when they have better players around them, they can kind of shine, blah, blah, blah. And Michael just wasn't having it, especially with Alfred Collins. And I've so come around to the fact that as much positivity that I try to have for being such a negative person about the 2025 draft, looking pretty rough right now, man. It's pretty bad. I mean, you're starting 2 defensive tackles in the fourth quarter of a preseason game. That's a bad look, man. And then, other players that were drafted last year in 2025 who we still don't know about. So that sucks. It's a bad look, man. It's a
At
really
least they're
bad look.
healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I should be happy about that, right?
Well, yeah.
Right, but let's also give these guys a break for a second. And I'm not one to sit back and be like, "Oh, it's a nothing burger," because last night was pretty concerning as to what we saw. But I think like they realized 2025 was meant to restock their run defense. This last year's draft, this offseason was to improve their pass rush, right?
Yep.
Grayson Halton's a pass rusher. Osa Digizou is a pass rusher. Romero Height's a pass rusher. And obviously all that has to come together and work in tandem. And so far, there's been some health that has hindered that in many ways. Grayson Halton's hurt right now, too. So it's not like Halton wouldn't have played. We don't know, right? But I think you cannot look at a draft class and say they're good or bad on one day, on 1 year, on one preseason. You have to give things time. Same goes for Stribling as it goes for Alfred Collins and guys. You can praise them, you can knock them, you can be negative, you can be positive. I think Collins and West, especially Collins, I would not be shocked that come week 6, he looks like who he was or supposed to be at Texas. Like he's a guy I can see maybe not really in the best condition right now, like he was last year. Like Collins didn't start as a second-round draft pick. When does that happen? He was starting behind Jordan Elliott and Kalia Davis all year.
Well, we knew he was raw coming into the league. I mean, that was his big shtick was that he's kind of a raw player and not as
a pass
refined.
rusher. As a pass
yeah.
rusher. But as a run defender, and that to me is where last night comes into play because you saw the play you put on screen, like he's getting pushed back 5 yards, getting pancaked essentially by the Raiders offensive linemen, which they played a handful of starters last night. So let's not act like they were playing against, scrubs, but it is the Raiders offensive line. Like they're not like the best in the world.
You're a second-round pick, though. There's expectation.
I mean, this is the guy that they're talking about. Oh, well, they could trade him for Vita Vea before he got his extension. So, I mean, second-round pick, I mean, you expect him to start at this point.
Yeah.
For him to be in there as long as he was, for me, this looks like a showcase. Hey, we're going to send him out there. He's going to play 3 quarters or most of 3 quarters, and we're going to try and showcase his ability. Let's hope he has a good game. Well, guess what? He really didn't. Because I think the Niners are going to try and maybe looking to try and move him. Because, look, we know Raheem Morris. Well, but check this out. We know Raheem Morris likes to have guys that rush the quarterback. So Collins and West are the opposite. They're run defenders. But last night, they couldn't stop anybody. So could it be that these two are kind of on the outs when it comes to Raheem Morris's defense? Sterling?
No, for the side, not yet.
Aaron, go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't think so yet. I agree with Sterling. You got to give it another year at least. If they give up, if they were to give up on West and Collins right now, wow, that is like saying, yeah, we concede. We're shit at drafting, but this year we did really good, so don't pay any attention to that. No, I don't think that happens. Not yet.
Again, I think context matters. Michael Williams towards ACL. That's a big run defender out of the room right now on the edge. You don't have Nick Bosa out there. You don't have Osa Digizou out there. Alfred Collins is likely not going to beat opposing offensive linemen 1v1 as a pass rusher. That's never what he was in Texas. It wasn't what he was drafted to do. I don't care what Raheem Morris wants of, I want a pass rusher. That's why they went and got you Grayson Halton and Osa Digizou. You have to have guys that can play on base downs. Yes, his pad level is too high. That was also a problem at Texas.
Is he too tall for that position?
He's a massive human being, and yes, he has to play lower because he loses leverage pretty quickly. That happened in Texas too. And if you're injured or if your conditioning sucks because you missed part of the offseason, you're going to naturally lift up when you get out of your stance. So it's not like there isn't context and everything. So, no. San Francisco is not trading CJ West. They're not trading Alfred Collins. They're not cutting either one of those guys. The Niners are going to have to be 4 to 5 guys deep on the interior defensive line. On paper, those prospects are 2 of the best guys they have in that room next to Osa Digizou. And you hope to God that you're going to have a better back 7 behind them on the off chance, unlike Jalen Graham last night on a play show, Dre, to fill that hole, plug that gap, and stop that runner, and it makes him look better. Like, let's also not forget, they're playing with 3rd and 4th string linebackers, with 3rd and 4th string cornerbacks. they can't pick up their slack and vice versa. So,
Right.
I think last night wasn't a great showing. They're going to hear about it in meetings, as they should. But it's the preseason for a reason. Right?
Yeah.
AJ Martinez played 3 quarters last night, and one of the reporters said he was good. He wasn't. So
he wasn't.
He never has been.
He's pretty awful.
He's horrible.
I think it's safe to say he is not an NFL starting quarterback. He's
Not
very
even
athletic. Yeah, he's very athletic, but even if
holds onto the ball way too long too. Oh my God!
If your quarterback goes down and Martinez goes in, if your quarterback goes down and Martinez is your backup, you're in a lot of trouble because he's making some bonehead decisions out there on the field. I mean, it all goes back to the first game when he did the underhand throw back across the field. It was like, whoa, what are we doing here? Like, that's something I would do if I was playing at the park. Like,
gotta use Brett Favre. Like, let me harness or let me pull from Brett Favre's repertoire with zero talent.
What really screwed them up, too, was that Curtis Rourke got hurt in the first game.
Yeah.
I think we would have saw a lot more Curtis Rourke in these past 2 games, but now it was more like – but look, this is an opportunity for Martinez. Like, dude, he had 2 games where he basically played the whole game, and unfortunately, he didn't improve really on any of them. So, for me, this firmly asserts that Adrian Martinez will be put in the practice squad. I don't think he gets picked up by anybody else unless somebody snags him because they want to know, like, hey – give us some insight on what Shanahan's doing over there. Other than that,
would you even trust Adrian Martinez to give anybody else insight?
I don't know, but so let's also talk about the quarterback position. Obviously, Brock Purdy is your number 1 starter. I think he looked really, really good when he was in. Mac Jones is your number 2. I don't think Mac Jones is going anywhere this season. I know people have talked about, like, well, what if they try and trade Mac Jones before the start of the season? No, they're not, because he's their insurance policy if Brock goes down. You got to be able to have a capable backup quarterback, especially, I hate to say this, but especially in a Kyle Shanahan offense, because in the Kyle Shanahan offense, the quarterback tends to get beat up for some odd end reason. So having a capable backup, we saw how valuable that was last season, so I don't think he's going to go anywhere. If they were going to trade him, it would have been during the offseason or during the draft. Now, obviously, Martinez is a big nothing burger. But Curtis Rourke, I've been hearing people talk about, oh, well, they could trade Curtis Rourke. I don't see Rourke having that much value to warrant you anything close to what you want in a draft pick. I mean, what would he really get out in the open market in terms of if you're trying to trade him? Like a 7th round pick, 6th round pick? I just don't see you yielding a huge return on Curtis Rourke. Sterling, what do you think? Do you think Curtis Rourke has a market with broken ribs?
No. He's more likely to be placed on season-ending injured reserve to make room for another defensive lineman or an offensive lineman rather than being traded, which sucks too because I think San Francisco's in a spot where they may have to carry 3 quarterbacks this year. Not to equate Curtis Rourke to Brock Purdy because they aren't the same. But I believe San Francisco thinks that Curtis Rourke is in line to eventually take Mac Jones's backup quarterback job next year.
Yeah.
And they wanted to see him first before they made a decision on Mac Jones's future. That said, I think if you cut Curtis Rourke, somebody else will pick him up. Even if there is injury concern, the Vikings would do it in a heartbeat behind Kyler McCarthy and Max Brosmer. The Jets would do it in a heartbeat. The Bengals probably do it in a heartbeat too. Like, there are plenty of teams that would take a chance on Curtis Rourke. He's big. He plays the offense pretty well, and he can move. So I think San Francisco is probably going to have to keep 3 quarterbacks this year or risk losing Curtis Rourke, which isn't always a bad thing. It's the most important position on the football field. But the question is, do you try to stash him on IR again and risk losing him all year on the off chance Purdy and Jones aren't healthy? Then you're kind of screwed with Adrian Martinez playing quarterback. Or do you just say, yeah, broken ribs, but you're going to be inactive on game day? You are the emergency 3rd quarterback in case something happens. That to me seems most likely. But roster cutdown day is going to be interesting because they have a lot of injured young players that are still under roster control for the next 2 or 3 seasons that they may want to stash again, Rourke being amongst them.
Aaron, what do you think about Curtis Rourke? Would you try to hang on to him? Would you try to stash him on the practice squad? if you're Kyle Shanahan, what do you do with Curtis Rourke?
I'd keep him. I think he played phenomenal in the game that he played in.
He played in one game.
I know,
We've
but
only seen the one game.
Dude, he was in there with the starters. He didn't look overwhelmed. He was making good reads. He's mobile.
I mean, Stribling was making some plays. I mean, but the ball was on time, and the ball was placed really well for a lot of those passes.
I think there was a reason why they drafted him, even with the injury that he had. There was definitely interest from Kyle Shanahan. They see something in him. I'd put him on the practice squad. You can't let him go.
But even on the practice squad, a team can pluck him. Like, okay, well, I'm going to take you because I like
with the way that they don't prioritize offensive line on the 49ers, you need to have 3 quarterbacks or at least 2, and then have an emergency. Like, what last year showed me was anything you think possibly that can happen with injuries will happen, especially when it comes to quarterback and whatever position you think. It's just we always say, oh, we have too many running backs. We have too many running backs. Then what happens every single year? Every single running back gets hurt, and now we're like, oh, we got to go sign some other dipwad off somebody's practice squad. So no, if there's a way to keep him on the practice squad and nobody comes and claims him, that would be great. But who knows?
Yeah, I just think at this point, like, what happened to you? Remember back in the day, every team had 3 quarterbacks.
Yep.
You had a backup and you had a third string. Remember the years of Joe Montana,
Steve Young, Bono.
Yep. Bono, and then after that it was what Elvis Gerbach.
That's what Jed York said. Bono
was good, and he went to the Chiefs, and he had a good year. I think they went 13-3 one year, then they got knocked out in the playoffs. Yeah. But we always had 3 quarterbacks, and then all of a sudden, with Kyle Shanahan, he's like, I don't want to waste the roster
Sean
spot.
Hill and Alex Smith in 2007. You didn't love that action?
Oh, that was great. Or what was it? Remember we had Tim Rattay? When I was younger, I remember asking my brother.
Ken
I was like,
Dorsey
Tim Rattay could be like a Peyton
either?
Manning. I compared him to Peyton Manning. I'm like, he's tall, he's big, he's got a big arm, and he's terrible.
Who was the little guy? Who was the little guy that was a scrambler?
Jeff Garcia.
No. He was later on in the 2000s. He was awful. Forgot what team he played for.
It was Cody Pickett.
Dorsey, Chris Winkie, Cody Pickett. Cody Pickett was a quarterback of my first Niner game ever.
Oh my God,
Chris Winkie.
That's rough.
Giants.
Chris
and
Winkie.
Yeah, Chris Winkie, Boomer Sooner, baby.
Man, you deserve to get made fun of if your last name is Winkie.
What was the other guy from
Oklahoma
Florida?
Legend.
Not Ken Dorsey, but Danny Werfel. Was he on the Niners at one point?
I don't know. They had J.J. Sullivan for a little bit. They had Nate Davis.
Jesus.
He's a big dude. Troy Smith was out there from Ohio State.
Yep, those are the
Jim
guys.
Druckenmiller. That's okay. Let's touch on that.
Jake Plummer.
That is where it ended. So the Niners always had a crop of quarterbacks, and you just like, man, these guys, they keep pumping out quarterbacks left and right. And then they landed on Jim Druckenmiller, and that's when the well went dry.
Who was his biggest advocate, though?
Bill Walsh.
Right.
He was like, this guy's really good. And he was just a meathead with a strong arm.
With Giovanni Carmazzi, too. Don't forget about him.
He was what do you call it? Heisman Trophy winner, I want to say. But Jim Druckenmiller is when the well went dry. That's when all of a sudden they started having shitty quarterbacks. And it was like, the quarterback thing is ending over here. Kind of like the San Francisco Giants, where you're like, okay, all of a sudden the pitching is drying up. You're like, looks like that's going down. Okay, so we're convinced that Adrian Martinez, practice squad, or he's going to get cut. It doesn't really matter at this point.
He'll be a practice squad guy.
Practice squad. Curtis Rourke, I don't think you can afford to put him on the practice squad because I think that with the way these quarterbacks get hurt, you need to find a way to keep him. I wouldn't put him on IR because I want to be able to use him. There is an IR where you come back at like mid-season.
Short-term IR, yeah.
So they could do something like that, but I don't know. Like everyone's going off now. Tim Rattay, Druckenmiller, Carmazzi. Oh God. Okay, so we talked about that. About the quarterback position, we talk about the running back position. Let's talk about left guard. There's a lot of talk now that Carver Willis, which, okay, I will say this, I will admit it. Sterling predicted Carver Willis, much to my dismay. Carver Willis got the majority of the snaps last night. Now, is it because he was going against backups most of the game? Maybe, and they want to get as much exposure out there as possible. But here's the problem, is that they've turned their backs on Connor Colby, and Robert Jones is injured. And so because of that, they're like, okay, Carver, you got to figure this out. Is it safe for them to run Carver Willis out there week 1 against the Rams? Aaron?
I'm not impressed with left guard at all. So to me, it's take your pick. I'm not impressed with any of these guys, to be honest with you. So
it's drunken because when you hear him talk, he sounds like he's freaking drunk. Anyway, go ahead.
Who, me?
No, drunken Miller was like, "What's up, bro?" What were we talking about? I just lost my train of thought.
Left guard.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Aaron, no, I'm just kidding. Sterling, what do you think about left guard? I mean, do you think Carver Willis has carved his spot in the rotation, or do you think they're going to go back to Robert Jones? Because I mean, they're talking about Robert Jones coming back to practice next week.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm stuck, right? Because you guys both know the minute he was drafted, I predicted Willis to be this team's starting left guard at some point this year and believe that he had a pretty good chance of winning the job out of training camp. And he's put himself in a good spot to do so. The run blocking is where it needs to be, I believe. The pass protection isn't. That was always the MO of a player like him, that he's a converted tackle. He doesn't have to be, or didn't have to be, this massive human being on the interior. And so there is going to be a year of transition for a guy like him, but I think he's more he has the ability to adapt faster than, say, Connor Colby last year, being a 4th-round draft pick compared to a 7th-round draft pick. And I think San Francisco likes players like Carver Willis to play the interior. He can move well, get him in space. He can run as a pull blocker and do some damage in a wide zone running scheme. That said, to Dre's point, I don't know what the status of Robert Jones is. I believe they're hoping he can practice next week, and he's supposed to travel to Australia, but long plane ride, a week there. We don't know what the exact problem is. I think my concern isn't exactly with Carver Willis. Maybe that's just me because I knew who he was coming out of Washington. And I understood
so you know him.
Well, I know of him and I've watched him plenty of times. But you have to understand, he's a young player. They're going to make mistakes. Is San Francisco willing to ride those speed bumps and realize that he'll have some good plays? He'll also have some ugly ones too. That is the NFL. That is what rookies do. Now, I think they believe he can learn quickly and earn that job, and I think he'll become a mainstay at left guard if he can do so. But I think I'm kind of underwhelmed with the interior offensive line as a whole. Now, we haven't seen Brendel much this offseason outside of training camp and practice. We haven't seen Dominic Pooney much. He has a concussion. Hopefully he can get over that pretty soon. Brett Toth, who was supposed to be in the left guard center competition, he also has a concussion. It's lingered for a while. So it's like two of, you have your backup center, your backup left guard, and Brett Toth. He hasn't practiced and played for about 2 weeks now. Then you have Pooney, who you assume will be back by week 1, but concussions can linger at times. That can create a problem. Then you really can't trust Connor Colby. He's been terrible all preseason. Came into the year as this team's starting left guard and quickly became the 3rd-string left guard and the backup right guard overnight, seemingly. So I think the Niners, if they're going to go with Willis, I'm fine with it. I don't mind young players playing. In fact, I want young players playing, especially if they're playing next to Brendel, Pooney, McKivitz, and a Hall of Famer and Trent Williams. I'd rather let a young guy on a first year of his contract play, earn his stripes, and hopefully blossom into a great player year 2, 3, and 4, than toss out Robert Jones for 1 year, Connor Colby for year 2, or Spencer Birdford for a 2nd year, or Brett Toth for a 1-year contract. But with that said, I am still equally as mortified playing the Seattle Seahawks and playing Aaron Donald because, oh my God, if they're going to annihilate this finesse offensive line we have on the interior. San Francisco could not get a 1-yard gain last night against the Raiders backups with their backup offensive line. They're too finesse. It's all, we're quick and we're fast and we can move. Yeah, but you can't get a push.
Can you rotate offensive linemen throughout the game? Can we have
I mean, honestly,
a moving rotation? Okay, Here comes Carver
But
Willis. We're gonna run.
But whose choice is it for the what is their obsession with drafting
this
guys?
is the Chris Forrester Shanahan scheme. Got to get guys in space. Gonna have pull blockers. Gonna, if we can get to the edge, we're gonna be great because we can get guys out there in space and they'll clear lanes up and they'll get CMC and Black and James open. But I think the biggest indictment of this has been to one of the commenters in the YouTube chat. It's the Enrique Cruz stuff. Enrique Cruz has been arguably the worst offensive lineman in the entire preseason.
Yeah.
He's playing out of position, playing tackle. He's not a tackle. He's a guard, and I get it. They're thin at tackle right now, so he's playing left tackle, holding things down. But my God, every play, it is hold on to your seats, folks, because if this dude has to play at all, this is going to be absolutely night. It's going to be horrible.
Okay.
The dude sucks, and I'm seeing reporters say he's going to make the 53-man roster.
There's no way
Holy
he can.
crap.
I mean,
if he does,
bad.
Chris Forrester should be fired because that means you cannot evaluate talent or everybody else can.
Maybe they don't have a choice. I mean, look, you talked about it. Brett Toth, concussion. We barely even seen this guy. Ladarian Lowe, he's hurt. We haven't really seen him at all. So if you can get those two guys back, they were brought in to add to the depth of the offensive line. And these are the first guys who got hurt. It was like, oh, my God, really? So now they're having to lean on these young guys. And look, Enrique Cruz tried his best last night, and he had a couple of plays that, he actually looked pretty good, but he looks like a fish out of water. He looks like they just threw Aaron out there to go block, where he's just kind of putting it together like, oh, shit. But when he goes against, like, starting NFL caliber defensive ends.
Yeah, Myles Garrett.
He's
if
fucked.
He has to ever.
This dude wouldn't even be good in a rec league football. Like, that's how awful he is.
Yeah.
He's one of these players where he has all the physical traits, right? He can run, he can move, he's athletic, he has the agility. He fits the RAS score athletic freak title to a T. But the technique is so bad, to quote Yoda, he has to unlearn what he has learned to then relearn how to play tackle or guard in the NFL. It sucks because I don't mind taking the chance on a guy in round 7. That's what he was. So, that's if the other, 7 guys they pick hit, who freaking cares, right? 7th round draft pick, throw a dart and hope it hits, right? But the problem is that we're saying projections of he's making the roster. We're seeing San Francisco kind of begrudgingly keep him at tackle, trying to move a square peg into a round hole. When that dude is a guard, if anything, he's a guard. And yet, he may be nothing in the NFL. And everybody else can see it. But I don't know if it's out of necessity with Pleasance being hurt. You don't want to play Trent, and Vidarian Lowe may be out for the first 4 games of the season. Who knows? It's like you better hope Austin Pleasance comes back because this team only had 3 tackles last year on the roster. Trent, McKivitz, and Pleasance. If one of those guys can be back, meaning Pleasance, you can no one is going to claim Enrique Cruz.
No one's going to claim him. Nobody. So we'll see what they do, especially come next week. But it's also been announced, too, that Kyle Shanahan mentioned that he believes that Robert Jones will be back at practice next week, or at least he's hoping. I think if he has a good week of practice, they're going to go with Robert Jones. I think there's too many question marks for Carver Willis in terms of his experience. And I think that if Robert Jones comes in and shows any signs of like, hey, look, that looks normal, they're going to start him. That's my opinion. If it's not going to be Robert Jones, it's going to be Carver Willis. I think Connor Colby has kind of played himself out of the rotation. He's going to be more of a backup. And then Lowe and Toth are still banged up. So who knows when and if we're ever going to see them this season. But
it's like the whole team you could say that about right now.
But switching over, well, actually, let's stay with the offense really quick. I want to talk about the news that pertains to Mike Evans having the quad injury. Everyone's worried. Everyone's freaked out.
It's a groin injury, by the way.
A groin injury. Aaron is terrified. Is Mike Evans going to play week 1? I know he put it out there that he plans on playing week 1, but is he going to be effective with the groin injury? Or is this going to be a case where this guy is going to be hurt all season long? He hasn't had a healthy day in training camp. Sterling, what do you think? I mean, is Mike Evans going to be Mike Evans? Or are we getting the broke down, older, used tire version of Mike Evans?
Can I say it's a mixed bag? Because
Say whatever you want.
when Mike Evans was healthy, which he was for the majority of training camp until he got hurt, which is obviously a problem, him and Brock looked fantastic. But I think when you're talking about, a receiving core that already lost Ricky Pearsall, may have already lost Christian Kirk for the first 4 games of the season, being a short to Meyer candidate. This team needs Mike Evans, and according to Tom Pelissero, Evans is going to play week 1.
Yeah,
he's going to be out there, which is a good thing. Like, I think a lot of this has been them trying to be very cautious with their veteran players. Bosa, Evans, guys like that. They're not playing a lot of the guys a lot of the time during the preseason. So I'd like to chalk it up to this them being overly cautious. And the problem is that Mike Evans doesn't practice. They're overly cautious. He comes back for a day, then immediately pulls his groin. And it's like, okay. With that in mind, I don't think it's a Mike Evans problem. I don't think it's Mike Evans being 33 years old. I don't think it's an age thing. I think it's Justin Perry is such a freaking crappy trainer that there's so many lower body injuries, so many hamstring problems, so many groin issues, so many calf strains, so many calf pulls. It's not substation BS. It is simply they do not stretch properly. You look at the numbers. It's not oh my God, that player is aging. They must be bad. These things, the Raiders have had one player hurt all training camp. San Francisco, after being one of the most injured teams all of last year, has played 3 fake football games and has 25 guys already hurt. That is not, oh my God, they're old. That's not, oh my God, they're brittle. They're not even tackling each other in practice. How these guys they're not even playing games. They can't get through training camp because their trainers suck. That's why.
They have 25 listed injuries, the most amongst any team this preseason. The next team would be the Saints at 16, Packers at 15, Eagles at 15. Now, look, some of these injuries are the guys that aren't going to contribute to the team whatsoever. And if you ask some of these guys who cover the Niners or even some of the Niners employees, they'll tell you, we're having a very healthy training camp.
Yeah. Bullshit.
But it just seems like every time Mike Evans moves, it's like, oh, my quad. Oh, my groin. My hammy. Like,
can I say something?
Go ahead.
I was iffy about the Mike Evans move in the offseason. I mean, a lot of people were pretty excited about it, but you got to understand, like, and we already know this because I complained about it all last year. Like when you're older and you have guys that have a lot of injuries, and then you go out and you get older guys that have had a lot of injuries the last couple of years, don't be surprised if they're the guys that get injured all the time. It's always kind of like the same people. The Mike Evans thing doesn't really. The one thing about the Mike Evans move, I just feel like they what they're trying to sell us on what he could be and what he actually is 2 different things, and that's the sad part. But the training staff has been awful. They were awful last year.
They've been bad for a decade.
I had lost track of what I want to say all that time. See, I wait too long and then I don't remember what I want to say. Forget it.
Well,
I'm done.
To push back on Aaron a little bit, because he isn't wrong. When you sign injured players and expect those guys to be healthy, the odds would say it's probably not going to happen. But it's not like Mike Evans. It's not like Mike Evans has this long history of injuries. He doesn't. Like, he's a guy that has been so trustworthy. He's somebody who's always out there. He's been one of those gridiron giants that never gets hurt. And even last year when he was hurt and played a career 8 games, it wasn't because of a lower body injury. It wasn't because of a groin or hamstring. He broke his collarbone. He's pulled his groin twice. He's pulled his hammy already once in the span of a month and a half of training camp. That's not because he's old and he's breaking down. Like, no.
Then what is it?
Well, it's been for the last decade, Ray.
There's only one way to settle this. There's only one way to settle this. Juwan Jennings is on the Vikings. Yes. They have 200 players. Someone has to get a hold of him and say, hey, what's the difference between their training staff and the Niners? He's the only guy who can bail us out. He would know. 2 injuries, and we have 25? That's insane.
The Niners training staff is the Trent Baalke of training staffs. They don't sign hurt guys. They make guys hurt.
Oh, I get it, but like, I kind of feel like blaming the training staff is like blaming the substation. I mean, how do we
But
really
it's
know?
not.
There's no proof.
There is a
No.
track record.
There's no
a track record
proof.
of this.
It's not bad luck like all people. Oh, it's just bad luck. It's
But you would
football.
think players
No.
would be saying this, like, "Hey, they don't stretch enough. They don't do this enough.
did.
They don't
when
do
they
this
did the
players are
enough."
not gonna-
when they did the report last year after the season, and they had to grade a bunch of things. One of the worst things that was graded on the 49ers was their training staff area, whatever that entailed in that report. So it was obvious that players have issues with it.
I mean, they added the new aqua section at the training staff, the aquarium, whatever you want to call it.
That's like
Okay,
old people,
okay.
like
In
somebody
the pool.
has a new hip.
2026 or 25, excuse me, the Niners gave their training staff a C-, the lowest grade in the entire NFL, according to the NFLPA.
And we thought that
lowest
would make a
grade.
difference. It didn't.
Well, they poured more money into the training rooms, but not let go of the staff.
Yeah.
Like,
He's
John
been
Lynch-
there the whole. Dustin Perry's been there through
Hold on.
different changes.
he's got promoted
Yeah.
through this process.
Yeah, they're
Yep.
like, keep it
It's-
going. Keep it going.
It is the status quo in San Francisco. Or I
They
guess
love
Santa
their
Clara in this
they
case.
love their guys. They love their players. They
Yeah, well,
love
they
their
also love
training
Nick
staff.
Sorensen too, and look how that panned out.
I'm just saying.
I'm
Speaking of substations, though, I'm going to switch gears just a little bit. Actually, I'll hold off on that one. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to talk about, we've been talking a lot about the offense. I want to talk about the defense a little bit. So the main thing I want to talk about is Nick Bosa. Now, he's expected to return to practice next week. The guy hasn't actually practiced in, I don't know, in what, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks?
Yeah.
We saw him week 1, and that was it. Similar thing to Christian McCaffrey. Now, they talked about how he has some real tendonitis. The Niners have said this is not a contract thing. This is, he has some tendonitis, and we're trying to take care of it. I do agree with the Larry Krueger aspect where, hey, he has no more, doesn't have enough guaranteed money, doesn't want to get hurt. They don't want to see him get hurt. Let's go ahead and just take your time. You don't have to do shit for the rest of training camp. We saw you week 1. You looked amazing. That's all we have to see. And I think the tendonitis is a real thing. But how confident are you guys that Nick Bosa is going to come back next week for practice? Aaron? I went to Aaron first.
No, I don't have any confidence. What can give you confidence in this situation? How many times have we heard this team, this coaching staff, this owner, whoever, talk about injuries and when guys are returning and this and that, and then there's a setback, and then they have to reevaluate, and then all of a sudden, 6 to 10 weeks down the road, they put them on IR and you never see them the rest of the season. It happens consistently with this team. Yeah. I trust nobody about anything when it comes to injuries. Bosa, to me, if this season ends up being a season where he's in and out of the lineup, he needs to be traded next offseason. This is I'm getting to the point now where this loyalty shit that Kyle has with players over making like difficult moves and moving on from players is the worst thing ever. Like, you stop living in the past, stop thinking about what players have done for you before, start making the hard decisions. But like, I have zero confidence. Dude, they had a ton of injuries last preseason, and I got raked over the coals talking about when the regular season hits, you wait. None of these are big deals. Some of these that people have been telling me the same thing. You wait till the regular season. All these injuries aren't big deals. And what happened last regular season? We were the most injured like ever in the history of this franchise. So I have zero confidence. None.
Yeah, but even the analysts have even said, hey, the substation thing isn't real.
That I agree with. But
this is just a crazy amount of injuries. I mean,
it's not bad luck, though. There is a systemic problem.
A systemic.
It's the training staff.
Dustin Perry and his band of invalids who are.
When I look at it, is this. You know what you do as an organization?
You want some Neosporin on that?
Even if the substation isn't an issue, right?
Get the Robitussin.
To show your fan base that you're actually serious, you should get another practice area.
Yes.
You should get a whole new staff. Like, show your fans and show your people that buy second season tickets for this team that, like, you know what? It's almost like if they react now and they go to make a move, it's almost like they're admitting defeat. So they're just going to double, triple, quadruple down on what they've been doing. And like this whole thing with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, to me is just it's balderdash. They need to make serious changes this coming off season, because to me, I have no faith that this team can stay healthy and make a run at it with the way I'm so sick of it being like, oh, it's just precautionary bullshit.
Well,
Yeah,
I would agree that. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I think the Nick Bosa injury is almost. It's not really related to Dustin Perry. That's why I'm not like that. To me, like they're not related at all. Like Nick has had 3 torn ACLs. It's natural that after your first torn ACL, after your second torn ACL, and after your third one, you're going to have tendonitis in your knee. And I'm not concerned that Nick isn't going to practice. I'm not concerned, of like, oh my God, he's going to tear it again. I think my concern is that if he does play,
why would you say that?
If he does play, that there's going to be lingering tendonitis all year, and there'll be like short spurts where he can't play because it's flared up too bad and his knee isn't working properly. And, that's up to the training staff again to help kind of have that subside. And, I think Nick is smart. Nick is somebody who's almost removed himself from the training staff during the off seasons, trains in Florida, often kind of does his own thing, similar to Christian McCaffrey. Funny enough, the 2 guys that normally do their own thing are the most healthiest guys on the team outside of torn ACLs. Like that's been Nick's MO. Nick doesn't have pulled hamstrings. Nick doesn't have calf injuries. Nick doesn't get pulled groins. He just tears his ACL every 3 years, and we all go, crap, let's see how Nick comes back healthy. Christian McCaffrey, same thing. Like McCaffrey had some stints in Carolina that weren't healthy, but since coming to San Francisco, he's been healthy besides 1 year that had Achilles problems.
Yeah. Micro tears.
Right. So like I don't blame or I don't look at the history of this team's training staff and go, oh my God, Nick Bosa is not going to be healthy.
I can agree with you on that one.
I look at this of like, oh my God, the training staff isn't going to be able to get Nick Bosa through the season because they're so inept about getting guys through the season that if Nick has tendonitis, they can't treat it properly. And I think Nick having 3 torn ACLs, like that's going to make the recovery process longer and harder and an issue. So I think Nick plays week 1. I really do. In what capacity? How much? I don't know. Maybe it's 30%. Maybe it's 45%. But I think I'd push back on Aaron a little bit more about moving off of guys and having these hard conversations of you got to trade Nick Bosa and everything. And I think that comes down to, how do you redo his contract? Nick's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere because you don't have anyone to replace him. If he
because they're so acid drafting that they have to freaking squeeze the lemon out of all these veterans.
But they have no pass rush without him. So that's
they also haven't been in the spot to get a player like Nick Bosa.
Whose fault is that they don't have a pass rush outside of Bosa?
Yeah, but look. Say what you want about Nick Bosa. In my opinion,
they've been too good to be able to get a player like Nick Bosa. Unfortunately,
like Nick Bosa is one of those guys where he's up there, like he's in the same category as like a Myles Garrett.
No, Myles Garrett is head and shoulders above him.
Myles Garrett I think is better, but I'm saying like he's like Micah Parsons. You know what I mean? Like he's those guys
Max
where it's
Crosby,
like when you have
Micah
him,
Parsons,
Max Crosby. Thank you.
He's in that second level. It's Myles Garrett and everybody else.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. But
he's always healthy.
But how do you get Myles Garrett? You're the worst team in the entire league for 25 plus years.
Of course.
How did you get Nick Bosa? You win 4 games the next season.
Right.
And they only got Nick Bosa because the Cardinals said, hey, we took Josh Rosen. We don't want that guy anymore after 1 season. We're getting Kyler.
Crazy. That was talk about that luckiest stroke of luck of all time.
But then they're so good for so long, they're not in a place to get a player like Nick Bosa. And then when they are bad, well, the 11th overall draft pick, there's not a single player in that draft in round 1 that is an actual pass rusher. And the one guy in James Pierce Jr. has so many off the field red flags. You're like, no, we don't even want to take that risk.
He's going to get suspended through week 6.
Why wait till the 3rd round, though, to get a pass rusher with such a deep draft this year? Why
Well,
did you wait
because
till the
they-
last possible second?
Who are you? Okay.
He's talking about Romello Height.
Yeah. Which
He
is
was
fine.
literally the last guy on the board worth the crap. All the other players went before him. They waited so long. Why? Why are they so
Well,
confident in
You got DeJohn
Mike-
Stribling out of it, and we're all pretty hyped about that
okay,
guy, aren't we?
Okay, yeah, but I'm just saying,
Okay,
why
here
are
we
they?
go.
No, but why are they so confident in what they are going to draft or who they're going to bring in when they haven't been good at it for a long time? And like
See, but I would disagree with that.
they're so cavalier. Like, what gives you the confidence to think that Bosa can last the whole season or Mike
I
Kell?
agree with
Guys are
that.
coming off serious injuries.
I agree.
I don't
Yes.
understand the mindset of like not being. I'm not saying you got to go get Myles Garrett, guys. I'm not
Right.
saying that.
He's
I'm not
already
even
gone.
saying- I'm not even saying Max Crosby or anybody. It's just the
Right.
way that they're almost like, well, we expect. But how can you expect when guys are always hurt? Don't you have a
Okay,
backup plan?
Let's use the context of this year's draft. You have Nick Bosa coming off a torn ACL. You have Mike Kell off a torn ACL. Where exactly do you want them to pivot? Because you can't say they don't do this, they don't do that, and then not have a plan. Because, yes, I would agree. Relying on Nick Bosa and Micah Williams, where they may come back and be awesome. They may come back and not do jack shit. Get hurt again, who knows, right?
But you
That's
had
the
20.
NFL.
You had 20 sacks last year.
I agree.
Without Nick Bosa, who probably would have had at least 10.
But I can also make the point that they also went and got Osa Odigizua for a third-round draft pick.
Yeah.
They went and drafted
Yeah,
Grayson Holden. They went and drafted Height. They
Those
added
two got
three pass rushers to the defensive line.
Yeah, but their two most serious areas of need coming out of last season, they did not address in the offseason. Safety and edge. There's still huge holes.
I would say this. Look, there was a lot. To me, they put all their eggs in one basket with Nick Bosa's going to come back. And they know what he brings when he's out there on the field. But to me, you had to have a bigger
He
insurance.
was really good
in terms-
last year before he got hurt.
He was, but I'm saying
He just happened
coming
to be
off
week
an
3 when he
injury,
got hurt.
but coming
What
off an
does that
injury,
matter?
you got to get somebody opposite him
Yeah.
to give him more support. I know they drafted Romello Height, but he's badly undersized, and they're hoping that he's going to pick up one-on-ones and beat the guy off the edge, but we don't know that yet. And he hasn't shown really any flashes of pass rush in any preseason game. He's shown some flashes of, stopping the run and making some good plays, but not what we had hoped to see. Now, it's only preseason. We don't know. But Romello Height is essentially your other pass rusher. There's nobody else out there. All the guys that were left are gone. Even Leonard Floyd is gone.
I think the problem is that every year, and this is all fans, including myself, we want San Francisco to find that player that can play on first down, second down, third down, get to the quarterback. That's not what they have. And maybe you can look at 25, 24, 23 that had really bad drafts in previous years that have hindered them in a lot of ways. Not just edge, but defensive line, safety, cornerback in places, receiver at times too.
Yep.
You are not going to find a 3-down edge rusher in the third round, sometimes not even round 2, and hell, sometimes not even the top 20 of a draft. It is so hard to find 3-down players in the NFL. Thus, San Francisco enacted a plan that we're going to get a guy in Micah Williams, who unfortunately got hurt last year that nobody can control, to play base downs. And then we're going to pair him, if he comes back healthy, this year, which according to Kyle Shanahan, he's supposed to practice this week. Like, that is a plan. And then they're going to pair him with Height. Like, there is a plan in place. Whether that plan, comes to fruition, I don't know. No one knows. You can't control injuries sometimes unless they're hamstring strains or groin injuries during training camp. You can't you can't control torn ACLs. You just can't. And it sucks. And it's an unfortunate, but the Niners can't play the Giants and go, God, let's hope nobody tears an ACL at MetLife. It's
Brian
just kind
Burns.
of for the risk right now. Like, it sucks that they're so injured that all the good players you want to believe in on the defensive line, on the edge especially, they're banking on. But that's a place that no good GM could make that switch up in one offseason. You're not trading Michael. You're not trading Bosa. Like, they're just kind of stuck
they're
now.
so pitiful at drafting, though. Why hold so dear to these picks that you consistently
Because
mix
they have to. They have to.
And the idea of trading Bosa for a haul, when was that going to happen? In 2023? No, because we were in the Super Bowl.
They're not going to get a haul. They're not going to get a haul. They're not going to get a haul from him.
The Niners are not going to get a haul for Bosa, and have been not in a single spot where it was we're trading him for anything.
Well, what would you be down for something like they move on from him and they have a bunch of money, and instead of getting one all-time top pass rusher, they spend money and they throw money at a couple guys.
That's going to be indicative of to how this year goes. Because
unless
if
he's
comes
injured
back and he's not healthy and he's hurt all year and can't do jack squat, they're going to redo his deal, lower his cap hit, and maybe say goodbye.
Yeah, but unless he's injured, he's had a productive season every season. And not only that, but you're talking about a guy like, oh, he's hurt a lot. Well, he's taking on double teams every single down. And we're talking about Nick Bosa. Right, but we're talking Myles Garrett is like, that's like Optimus Prime out there. He's huge. But Nick Bosa's taking on double teams every single time. And on top of that, he's getting chip blocked almost every down. And on top of that, he is an every down defensive end. He's playing first down, second down, third down. And if they're punting, he's not playing on fourth down.
To also be fair, the Browns have had a better pass rush than San Francisco have had the last 3 seasons. They had the best defense in football 2 years ago.
They sucked, so they were able to draft all these guys.
Because they can't figure the quarterback out. Like, and no, the Browns have not drafted those guys. It was Zadarius Smith and Myles Garrett and Malik Collins and a bunch of free agent guys they just picked up for 1 year and said, we have Myles Garrett, plug those guys next to him and let's have fun. Like, that is the Jimmy Schwartz special.
Yeah.
The Browns have drafted so insanely poor the last decade and a half, especially on defense. Like, they have had 3 draft picks almost every single year, it feels like, and they all suck besides Myles Garrett.
And they manage to fuck it up every time. It's
Which
crazy.
is crazy to say.
It's crazy.
Jabril Peppers, baby.
So we talked a lot, we talked about the defense, talked about the offense. Obviously, there's still some question marks in the secondary. Renardo Green dealing with an injury. I think Jack Jones is probably going to take that spot for week 1. He almost had a pick 6 in his past game against Kirk Cousins. So I think Jack Jones, is going to be a good replacement for Renardo Green if Green can't go.
Whoa.
Look at that. Full game live.
Stream East, baby.
I know. So I think Siegel and Jair Brown are going to win the 2 spots. Mustafa hasn't practiced in who knows how long.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. He might even go on the pup list. Who knows? Depending on how he kind of shakes out next week.
Watch him go on season-ending IR.
Yeah, nobody can go on the pup list once they practiced and played.
Okay. Well, there you go.
So it's IR nothing.
I mean, it's not like we're talking about, Dijon Love, the wide receiver.
My buddy sent me that.
I didn't even want to talk about it. It's so stupid.
So funny.
It's so
funny.
But I do think, because talking about the defense, though, I do think we are very, very deep at linebacker, and I would not be surprised if the Niners tried to move Tatum Bethune for a defensive end. I think that makes a lot of sense because Garrett Wallow clearly has leapfrogged Tatum Bethune, and you got Nick Martin, and you got obviously Greenlaw and Warner, and they went and got that guy. What's his name? Deion Jones. And you got Jaden Duggar, who looks really, really good. A very young, talented prospect, although he did whiff on a one-on-one tackle against the running back last night. That was bad. Baby. That was really bad. I was like, oh! But everything else looked really good from the guy. So, having said that, especially with the emergence of Jaden Duggar, I think Bethune is going to get traded. Now, who's going to get traded for? Obviously, they're not going to get a premier defensive end. They're going to get somebody, though. Jaw Joyner, hey, thanks for showing up for the game. See you later. Maybe you'll be in the practice squad. Good luck to you.
Bodies. That's all they are.
That's all they are. And so we'll see what they end up doing, but I can't imagine they're going to carry that many linebackers. Bethune, Duggar, Wallow, Greenlaw, Warner. It's a lot of guys.
Well, they're probably going to place Nick Martin on the IR
again.
That guy stays hurt, man.
He's hurt.
He has a hamstring issue, right?
And it's a way to stash a guy for another year. That's all it is, man. Because
that's the 49ers.
They have an overabundance of linebackers, right? To Dre's point, like
now,
I am one that has said like you're probably going to want to, trade one of these guys and get something back to help you out. But I also wouldn't be shocked to learn San Francisco walks into the year with Nick Bosa, Keon White, Sam Okawanu, Height, and Okoronkwo as their fifth edge rusher.
Wow.
Okoronkwo and Keon White looked really good last night.
We're going to get 60 sacks this year. Woo! That's a killer lineup right there.
Pressure from the interior. Then Mike Hill comes back in week 5. Oh, then we're cooking, baby. Then we're cooking. Just hope nobody else gets hurt in between weeks 1 and week 5. And we should be okay.
Yeah. Hope nobody gets hurt. That's like all we. Oh my God.
Here it is. Commanders just signed. There it is. Commanders just signed Dijon Love. He is off the board.
Brandon Ayuk continues to crash out in silence.
Oh, I know. Where's he?
He radio silent, man.
Yeah. Whatever he was trying to do, it's over. Okay, let's move on to our next topic of the day. And it happened this past Sunday morning. At 9:30 in the morning.
Easy like Sunday morning. Yeah, baby.
When Jed York was arrested for soliciting prostitution at a trailer park in East Palestine, Ohio. This is absolutely embarrassing. I cannot believe he would stoop to these levels to not only try and hire a prostitute for $140, but he tried doing it Saturday night. He ended up successfully making the deal Sunday morning at 9:30 in the morning. Who gets up at 9:30 and thinks, "Oh, I just scored a prostitute. I'm gonna go have sex."
I'm just imagining like Jed making the call and like having to send it to Parag to get the financials worked out, and then having to send it back to the prostitute to get everything cleared.
And he was in a Yankee.
he was in a Yankee shirt. Just for Aaron, he wore a Yankee shirt and some gray shorts. The body cam footage has been released. It's ridiculous that he's even a part of this. That
he's a chubby little guy.
Yeah, he's a little pug.
He's a 5'8" little Guido wannabe. Yeah.
This is the trailer park in which he was arrested in.
You have millions of dollars you could pay for high class poon, and instead you go to a trailer park. Why?
Okay, so my thing is this: is that you're a millionaire, yet instead of saying, "Hey, let's meet at the Conrad Hotel," let's
Hyatt Regency.
Yeah,
right?
No, he goes to a trailer park. At what point did he drive down there and realize, "Hey, wait a minute, I'm going to a trailer park. This is a bad idea." And on top of that,
probably he's going to score some meth while he's at it too. You know what rich people do.
And the crazy part is, he was going to pay $140 for Sunday morning sex.
Straight cash, homie.
But he brought $160. So what was the $20 for? Was he planning on tipping her? Was he planning on going to Taco Bell after
the deal was $160, and the $20 additional was for unprotected sex, I guess. So
no. He's like, I gotta feel that. I only want the real thing.
Trying to be a little extra with it. I mean, oh God, Jed, it's
what an embarrassment.
It's really sad because, like, clearly he's a man going through a hard time, right? Divorcing his wife, going through that problem and everything. And I don't think that should be overlooked. But for all the goodwill Jed had earned back from being quiet, being a hands-off owner, kind of being behind the scenes and just playing coy and playing good and, you know, letting Kyle and John be the PR and just kind of showing up whenever things are going well, like, I think it almost makes Jed more of a laughingstock now, because earlier during the Harbaugh stuff, he just looked like some pissant, angry rich boy that didn't get his way and egos clashed. He's like, "Oh, you're fired. I'm done with you. This is my team. I'm the owner, not you."
Well,
now it's like,
I think Trent Baalke was also in his ears. He was like, "Yeah, Trent, let's go."
I'm sure, but also like now it just looks like he's just a sad man. And I do feel for him. Like, he is going through a really hard time, like I said. But to Aaron's point again, like, brother, you are a multimillionaire. Why are you paying $140, $160 at most for a prostitute when you can have any escort in the world you want to wine and dine you for an evening? And my only thought would be is that the 140, 160 bucks was so it would fly under the radar of
Yeah,
the
no
divorce lawyer and not be a problem.
Paper, right, no paper
But
trail.
in order for you
Yeah.
to have $160 all in 20s, this guy stopped at the ATM and was like, 160. Bam.
Pulled up to the Wells Fargo and was like, "Hey, brother, can I get change for 100?" Please.
I like this one. Law of Wheat.
Yeah.
Wheat Hill, what's next? Shady Acres?
Dude. Oh my god.
Jed
He's
was
gonna end
impressed with the size of their satellite dishes.
He said free
He's
HBO. Let's sign
He's
me
gonna
up.
end up. He's gonna end up in Hawkins next, and then we'll never
And
see him.
what's
again.
crazy is that there was a substation located like 4 minutes away from the trailer park. So maybe the substation clearly had control over his brain. I don't know.
Isn't he living in Ohio now?
He's living at his
Yes.
parents' house in
like
Ohio.
he moved away from.
He's living
I'm
at
sure
a $500,000 house. The old
So
house.
he's taking over. He's taking over the Bartolo. What is it? Corporation, whatever it's called, and so that's located or centered in Ohio. So that
Gotcha.
is why he's moved there. Of course, he's getting a divorce, but he's living with his parents. So at 9:30 in the morning, Jed, where are you going? I'll be back.
I need you to rub. I need you to rub my
to the
toes.
office. It's Sunday morning. Hey, don't worry about it. I'll be back. Leave me alone. God.
Making Sunday sauce. Come back.
Jesus. Poor Jed.
I'm blowing up right now.
Like $160, man. Like I could think of a million ways to better spend $160 on an
I hope he-
Ohio prostitute.
I hope he could at least take a shower if he's gonna play $160, man. Ugh.
It's something, dude. I don't know what.
do
it
you
is,
guys
but
do you
it's-
guys think that they're gonna make him sell the team? Because I don't.
No,
I mean,
absolutely not.
This is water under the bridge. Like this is not even a problem. Like
I mean, look
honestly,
what Jerry.
I-
Jones
Uncle
got
Ponch, Levi Stadium is
for,
garbage.
Crap.
like I don't care what a divorced 50-year-old man does in his spare time and how he spends his money. I don't care. Like
I don't either.
what is I know it's illegal, but like what is the difference between him paying for OnlyFans and getting a prostitute? Like
No one.
yes, there's
no
like
one
a
will ever.
there's like a
No one will ever. No one will
right,
ever
like
find out about it.
as a society, like yes, prostitution's illegal, so I understand that part. But like, what is the difference morally? There isn't a difference. It's like you both agreed to it consensually. Who cares?
And so I did want to share this. There is some breaking news in the development of this case. The woman that he was planning on meeting
Oh God.
has been identified. And it's Brandon Ayuk. No, can you imagine? He's like, "Hey, sexy, got you, motherfucker."
Brandina
Ayuk.
Ayuksi.
The ghost of Brandon Ayuk still lives. The other thing too is that the Wheat Hill Mobile Home Park, they went on the record of saying that they want nothing to do with Jed York or this arrest, and that they have a great community there. They don't want anything to do with Jed York. Like, get that shit away from us. We're Wheat Hill. You're Jed York. You go away. But
like I
at
was
the end of the
Juwan,
day,
man.
at the end of the day, it is absolutely embarrassing that your owner of your franchise hires a prostitute on a fake online ad that takes him to a mobile home park.
Yeah, the dude
To
got Chris
get-
Hansen almost.
Yes, to get some morning poon. This is sad. It's ridiculous.
He hadn't even had
People are
coffee
still
yet. He
talking
went-
about this. You damn right we are. This is the first time we've met to talk about it, so pay attention.
Yeah.
Let me holler at you.
Hey, girl.
It's so it's
Let me tell
sad
you
now. Look,
something.
well, let's say this: is he going to sell the team? Absolutely not.
Oh,
What he's going to do is this: he's going to say, "I'm going to seek help," and he's going to disappear for the rest of the season. And once the season starts, you won't even think about this anymore. Now, if this happened in June or July, oh my God, it'd be all out war. Everyone would be covering
happens-
this.
What happens if they win the Super Bowl and Jed's first appearance is him holding a Lombardi trophy up? That's so
Hey, but you know what though? If he does that, everyone will be like, "Yeah, Jed, there he is."
I would be asking, where your hands been, bro?
In the meantime,
I don't want to touch
Put some-
that thing
Put
next.
some
Al
gloves on
Guido?
before you touch that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Al Guido will be running things, it looks like. But still, at the end of the day, bad luck for the Niners, bad luck for Jed York. really, really disgusting and bad choice in decision making. I can't understand why anyone would want to do this. And there comes a point where you have to ask yourself, like, wait a minute, like, is it the rush of doing something illegal, doing something that's off the books, doing something that's, I'm going to go meet this girl at a trailer park. And it's the rush of, this is what an average person would do. When this guy can go to a legal place and have sex, it just doesn't make much sense. It's sad. Jed is a D-bag. My Uncle Ponch is 100% right. Jed is a D-bag. And he made his bed, and now he has to lay in it. So at this point, him and Brandon Ayuk, I don't want to say are on the same level, but they can agree on one thing. They made mistakes, and now they have to deal with the repercussions of making dumb decisions with their careers.
A gangster, why you hating?
So let's move on really quick. Well, go ahead.
I would say, like, what are the repercussions of this? Like, because the NFL is investigating it, but like, for what?
Well, here's the thing too: is
you're gonna fine him. You're gonna
people have been like,
for a month?
they're gonna take draft picks away from us. I don't see how that applies to what an owner does.
No, like what he did had nothing to do with the Niners. Like nothing. Like the dude just said, "I want to get me some," and then happened to get busted. Like, all right, man, hey, whatever. Like they're gonna slap his wrist and say, "Go on about your day, Jed. Go be a millionaire elsewhere."
Yeah. But he's the owner, and like he said before, you don't dismiss the owner. So moving on to our next topic is going to be our last topic of the night. Christian McCaffrey.
Oh.
He made the top 100 list at number 6 on the list. When last year he was at number 73, he barely played, so it makes sense. Well, actually, no, he played a lot. But the year before that, he barely played in 2024. So now he's risen all the way up to number 6. Do you agree with this ranking that Christian McCaffrey is a number 6 player in the NFL's top 100? I do. With the amount of touches that he has, the value he has to the Niners offense, this guy is a generational talent, and he is incredible at what he does. It sucks he's never won a Super Bowl, but hopefully they can do that this season. Guys, what do you think about Christian McCaffrey ranking at number 6 on the NFL's top 100 players of 2026? Let's start with Aaron. I wonder how many touches Jed had.
I just with these kind of lists, I'm so like whatever about him. I mean, 6 is really high for him, especially with how much he didn't run the ball well last year. But if you're looking at it just from a straight, like how much he means to the 49ers offense, and what kind of offensive weapon he is, especially if they could have got the run game looking last year, that would have been an all-time season. But he is a great person. He is the way he takes care of his body, how serious he is about the game. So, I don't really care about these kind of lists. These things do nothing for me, but yeah, I guess so. If you look at him, just how much he means to the 49ers offense, but whatever.
Yeah,
Really?
excluding head coaches or a different coach, Christian McCaffrey may in fact be the most important non-quarterback player in the entire NFL. What he means to the Niners offense, how it operates through him, and that's no knock on Brock Purdy. It's just the way Shanahan does stuff. Like Christian McCaffrey is a superstar. He's somebody that every team would like to have. He's somebody that, every offense with the way they can utilize him as a rusher, as a receiver, as a blocker at times too. He's the ultimate football player, right? You saw him in the playoffs last year, 2 touchdowns, both receiving, the amazing Juwan Jennings touchdown catch he had against Philadelphia, then the game-winning one to almost end that game last year in Philadelphia too. Every team wants a CMC. People talk about Bijan Robinson and Jonathan Taylor and all those guys, and they're great in their own regards. And, I know Christian McCaffrey is a little bit over the hump right now. And I just hope that the Niners can get him some more blocking and help him in that regard, because I think the guy can still play at a high level as seen by last year. You don't have 413 touches for 1,000 and 1,000 yards rushing and receiving and not still be or not still have much more left in the tank. So please, for the love of God, block for this guy, and he'll be a top 10 player again next year too. He's just that freaking good.
And use him less as a runner and more as a receiver. Do what he does that better than half the guys that catch the ball on this team, not named Stribling or Evans. But yeah, I think he's an incredible player. It's like you said, he's over that hump. It sucks that players can't stay young forever, especially at running back. It's such a 5 years, 6 years, and then it's pretty much kaputs after. So yeah, we can't. What do you say? We stand Jacoby Brissett. What?
Sterling is a stand for Jacoby
I'm messing
Brissett.
with Kenny in the comments.
He's so bad. He sucks.
I
Should have gave
mean,
that guy
look,
4 years, 100 mil, my guys.
Didn't he break a record last year of completions versus us?
Yeah.
Yeah, they lost that
like
game too.
40.
Niners had no
So-
sacks in the game.
So look, we talk
Didn't
a
need
lot
to.
about the Niners, obviously, but at the end of the day, it's like, can you imagine if you're the Cardinals and Jacoby Brissett is your starting quarterback and you just paid him a 4-year, $100 million extension, and your only option besides that is Carson Beck, who's unproven?
Gardner Minshew as well. Don't forget that.
He's a career backup. Gardner Minshew.
Hey, he was
He's a
lights
good-
out with the Jaguars. and
He's
the
a
Colts.
good career backup.
Last time I checked, he beat the Ravens in Baltimore 3 years ago on a game-winning field goal. So let's
Gardner
not forget about that.
Minshew is the doppelganger for Mac Jones. He's a guy that you'd love to have him as a backup.
Oh, all
Is
vibes.
he-
All vibes.
Is he your starter? Probably not, but only if you're forced to.
He's the Burt Reynolds of quarterbacks.
There it is. Burt Reynolds of quarterbacks. Guys, that's going to do it for the show. I want to thank Aaron. I want to thank Sterling for coming out here and delivering another fire stream. I want to thank everyone in the chat for participating in the chat. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to all three of our channels, Dre Area Sports, 49ers First Takes, and 49ers Access podcast. Stay tuned for after the game. Sterling may be doing the post-game show for 95.7 The Game. I'm not sure. I've kind of jumping the gun on that. Sterling?
Sure.
Sure. There we go. Stay tuned for that. If you want to support the channels, go to my website, dreareasports.com, and become a member. Membership start as low as $1, and it's the best way to help support my channel. You become a member over at 49ers Access and support his channel, and you can mail some money over to Aaron. He'll drop his address in the chat down below. But guys, before we go, looking ahead to Niners-Rams, are you confident the Niners can win this game? Do you think the Niners can win this game, or do you think this is going to be a loss no matter what the Niners do? Aaron?
I think it's going to be a tough game for them to win, to be honest with you. I think the way I look at it is this, and I'll be quick. The fact that they're coming in, playing and leaving tells me what they think about us. And it pisses me off, but does it matter still, even if we're pissed? Because they're that good. They're trying to win a Super Bowl this year. They have
So are we.
They have a Hall of Fame defensive lineman and a Hall of Fame quarterback, so they're going all in. So if the Niners were to pull this off, regardless if it's a 3-point win, a 10-point win, it would be great for what's to come, especially early in the season before things get weird. But I don't know, man. I don't think they're going to, but I'm open to being surprised.
You say that the Rams' strategy of coming into Australia the night before, the day prior, and leaving the day after, or directly after, is an indication of their thoughts on us. Well, them advocating to have a road game or a home game in Australia, to me, tells me a hell of a lot more about what they think of us and our fan base
Yeah.
than that. The Rams know the Niners are a tough opponent. They know they need that advantage because the Niners beat them last year with Mac Jones playing quarterback.
Yeah,
Like-
we travel well.
I understand the Rams got better, a lot better this offseason. They're going forward, and rightfully so. They're on the verge of seeing their window, maybe not close, but close a little more than it currently is right now. And right now it's wide freaking open, but it's a very small window. They got to thread that needle and get in there. But that to say, it's not like San Francisco hasn't stopped Myles Garrett before.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they don't have a Hall of Fame left tackle that can block that guy who gave up 1 sack last year against him and against Cleveland. It's not like San Francisco isn't going to get more players back healthy in the meantime. We got a week and a half. They have no practice the next 3 days. Roster cut down day comes and goes. Maybe they can bring somebody in via waivers or maybe improve the depth in some capacity. Maybe they get some good news down the road. Maybe Mike Hill comes back. Kittle's already back. That's a big boost. Wasn't thinking that was going to happen. Like the Niners, I think, are trending upwards where the Rams have been the same the entire time. Like the Rams we're good, we're confident. San Francisco's like, look, they were banged up, but guess what? We got a week and a half to get healthy. Then it's all systems go. I am equally as confident against the Rams in Australia week 1 as I would be if the game was at SoFi, if the game was at home. It's the Rams. Even for as good as they've been, we've had their number for the majority of the time. So, yeah, they're a heck of a team. Win the whole thing this year. But it's week 1. Anything can happen during week 1.
I would say, look, I'll say this. In the NFL is very different from, let's say, the NBA or even Major League Baseball. In the NBA and baseball, when you load up on players, you can dominate teams. In the NFL, there's a lot of different aspects that you have to win on. Special teams, defense, offense, and within defense and offense, so many different...
Aaron said health.
Health. Thank you. So, again, a lot of things have to go right for anyone to win the Super Bowl. When you look at the Seahawks last year, a lot of things went right for them. They didn't have the major injury. JSN never went down with an injury.
Patriots overrated.
They were one of the healthiest teams in the league. They took on the Niners, who were depleted and destroyed. And then they went against the Patriots. So we'll see what happens come week 1 of the NFL. But, guys, that's going to do it for the show. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to 49ers Access, 49ers First Takes, and Dre Area Sports. And until next time, go Niners, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Peace.